Hey guys, I'm doing a little maintenance on my destroyer, my Proboat Arleigh Burke class destroyer, my fishing boat, whatever you want to call it, my scale hurricane destroyer. This thing's been through a lot. I've had it for, I don't know, a year and a half or so, I guess, and I mean, if you look at it, it's just spanked. Like, everything's gone. All the railings, all the accessories, everything. It's just all gone. I've lost, look, all the chains, anchors. I mean, literally every piece of this is gone. All that's left is that. And even that piece, you can see this used to have all the superstructure with the radar masts and antennas and all that other crap. Gone. History. This boat has had a rough life. You know, I've just taken it out with me numerous places when I'm running the speedboats and such, and had it, you know, floating in the water. And so if it's rubbing up against the side of a dock or anything like that, a couple times it's actually drifted off into rocks, and so I've lost some accessories like that. It actually got mauled last year. Cam 2040 and myself were down at a place we go, and he had his jet boat. I had this there on the dock running the speedboats, and some guy with a big dog. The dog was just crazy about the boats, but the problem was he come over onto the dock and he literally mauled my destroyer. I lost some parts there, a bunch of stuff got broken, blah blah blah. Cam's radio got broken for his jet boat at the time, and so, you know, anyways, that's how it goes, I guess. But the boat itself, it's still awesome. I love this boat. This thing is like the trail truck of the water, man. Any conditions, oh jeez. It just fell off the step. Oh yeah. Oh, excellent. Anyway, any conditions, I mean, I actually just missed a really big windstorm here in Calgary we had that I should have headed for the pond and had this thing out there, because it's been a while. It's so much fun in the big water. To start with, I'll show you right off the bat here. So one of the things with this boat is that since we've been fishing, I've been covering all the hatches with duct tape, you see, all of them, because if I do catch a big fish, I figure if he pulls it under and I've got it taped off and sealed up, chances are it's going to pop back up. The fish is going to get tired. This is a big, heavy boat. Ain't no pike. You're going to have to be a pretty big pike to drag that anywhere, right? Especially underwater. So anyway, ballast is in the hold there. You see, there's a box, lid for it and everything. And then I run a little bit more down in there along the sides. You can just see it under the shafts, under the stuffing tubes. There you go. So it's about 5 pounds of ballast altogether. So it really helps it to stay planted in the big water and stuff like that. It works great. So okay, so nothing in front of there. Okay, there's the hold. So then if we come in here, you can see the twin motors. Now, I really don't know what they are. They're Proboat Arleigh Burke motors is what it says right on there. Both brushed. There's the motor couplers. The couplers, here, I'll try and show you how these are. See how they flex? They got a rubber center in them, you see? Pretty neat, eh? And of course, there's two of them. They're both the same. There's the end of the prop shafts. See, it's a long steel shaft. See that? I just had them out because I haven't lubed this guy up for a while, so that's what I did. I took everything out, tried to pump some of the wet grease and water out of the stuffing tubes and put some new grease in there, and I'm going to put it all back together. Here's the ESC, and it's the Proboat Arleigh Burke Destroyer ESC. I don't know what it's rated at. Not very much, I don't imagine. Tactic. So no wires, no antennas, and this thing's got awesome range. And stock servo, which I'm not sure what it is. Stock one with the boat, so some Proboat unit, I'm sure. Yeah, other than that, so and then the stuffing tubes, you can see they go back, those two brass tubes. That's where the prop shaft runs in, obviously. And then, so we'll come down here. You see, here's where they come out of the boat. Like even that, look at this. Look how spanked that is. Lots and lots of hours in the water with this boat, man. You wouldn't even believe it. Okay, when I got it, it came with 2 plastic props. But every time you even come close, and now You know, it's a scale destroyer. You shouldn't probably be near the rocks. I know that, but you know, it doesn't matter what I have, what I'm driving, it's gonna hit the rocks at some point. And that's what happened. I kept breaking them. So this is from the model boat collection at PM Hobby. It's for the model boats that you build. You can add, you know, the brass props and stuff to it just to make it look really trick. So I just kind of drilled them out. I don't know if you can see, but I had to drill them out all the way for my shaft to fit right through. And then I drilled them in the side for a set screw, and threaded it, and boom, now I have bulletproof props. I mean, this thing, you know, even if it does hit something, it's not going to hurt anything. Like the one will just stop if you bump up against something, you know what I mean? But like I say, you shouldn't do that. I try not to do that, but it does happen. Anyway, the rudders are both out of the boat right now, and that's part of the thing. When you do the shafts, you have to take the rudders off. They mount right here, directly in line with each shaft and prop, you see. So you have to pull those out to get the shafts out, because they are quite long, right? They go from here all the way back. One thing I noticed when I was in there is that one of the rudder mounts, that's this guy, see, so the rudder shaft comes up through this, which mounts in that little hole right there where you can see my finger. Okay, so this should drop into there, and then the rudder mount goes in there. But you know, it's probably hit a rock or something. I've knocked it loose, right? So no biggie. I'm gonna mix up some epoxy, drop that back in. This side looks to be okay. This other side. So, and so here's the steering. Of course, it's not assembled, but you get the idea. See, there's those two each mount to one of the rudders. So the servo turns both rudders at the same time, for steering. And it turns great. This boat's awesome. You come hard into shore as hard as you want, crank it to the right or to the left to avoid, and then full reverse, and it's just sick. This thing handles like a dream. I really like this boat. It's a lot of fun. I've done so much with it. You know, I know it's taken a beating and stuff. I'm actually probably going to maybe sand it down and paint it this winter. I don't know, something. I was even thinking of making a one-piece superstructure, something low and stealth looking. I mean, you know, at this point, I can do whatever I want. I've got the hull and stuff is, well, I was going to say good, but that's not true. It's good. I mean, it's watertight. It doesn't leak, but I'll show you. She's definitely got some damage, okay? Like, there. That's definitely beat, that stuffing tube. That one there. But that's, like I say, I think at Elliston one year I lost it. I had some issues with range for a while. It turned out to be my radio, not my receiver. One of the tactic radios I was using. I don't know, something happened with the throttle and it just wouldn't respond all the time. So what happened was that it drifted away from me across the lake, and it ended up banging up against the rocks for a while till I could get to it. So, you know, you can see I've done some epoxy repair all around. I cracked this thing open like an egg a couple times. Look, see, again, it needs some epoxy. I'll probably just top that off while I'm doing that rudder mount. So, but other than that, like I say, the electronics and everything else, no problems. Everything's stock in here, shafts, except for the props that I changed simply to make them stronger. Other than that, and it goes, you know, close to an hour. Like, I run it on 5,000 mAh 2-cell lipos. There's no lipo cut off. I've pretty much run it. I mean, if you know how it is, if you run lipos, you know the story. If it even feels like it's starting to slow down and you think it's about that time, it's time to change it, right? People who aren't familiar with lipos, then lipo cutoff is very important because you can ruin your batteries otherwise. But one thing I did notice is that we've been fishing with this, and when I get towing like a big spoon, you know, trolling with a bigger size spoon, really sucks the power. There's a lot of drag when you're dragging a lure behind you. Anyway, so that's it. Just a quick overview of the Arleigh Burke, the Proboat Arleigh Burke class destroyer. I believe they're discontinuing. I mean, I don't know if you can find one anymore, but a fun boat, I must say. So, anyway, that's it. Thanks. Okay, so she's all fixed up, ready to hit the water again. See, the rudders are in place behind the props. Like I said, you can see how you have to remove the rudder assemblies in order to pull the prop and shaft in order to grease everything in there, you see. So that's all back together. Now you can see here how it all hooks up. I might even be able to steer it a little bit. See? So they work in unison. Nice. So yeah, so there you go. That's it for the Crawler Ted's beat up Arleigh Burke class destroyer by Proboat. Throw that back in there. That's brutal, eh? Maybe I'll throw a link or something, or somebody who has one that I've even got pictures of mine before I started thrashing it. Such a nice boat when I first got it, man. I have I didn't lose everything yet. I have that cover. I have this little hatch cover. This piece here is at the bottom of Elliston Lake somewhere. All the bits and pieces are God only knows where. Same with the guns that were on the front, and anchors and anchor chains, and this, you know, fence railing like this. All the way around, eh? But it's gone. You can see the holes where stuff was nailed and set in there. So yeah. But like I say, I don't know. I guess, you know, shit happens. The boat still works great. Oh. I still have a good time with it. Still one of my favorite RCs, I gotta say. I get a lot of time on this thing. So, here's my fishing rig. You can see I've just got it through the hatch there, just tied around, nothing fancy. With a leader, see, and then tied onto a swivel, and it seems to be plenty strong. I don't think it's going to hurt the boat or anything. I was going to make something, you know, something that comes off with a decent kind of fishing rig, but I don't know, maybe over the winter or something. For now, this does the trick though, so. But, so yeah, there we go. Get that off the bench, and time to start working on this. Got the parts in for my Geico today. I can't wait to get this thing back in the water, man. Miss Geico. I got prop shaft and some props and the offset rudder bracket. This came with the inline rudder, and the offset rudder bracket is way nicer. I mean, I had it both ways, and there's a huge difference with the offset rudder. Corners like it's on rails. It's just sick. This thing turns just insane. So I'm going to work on that today, and geez, get in the water as soon as possible.